Right. So let me get on to my fact. We'll talk about tragedy in the English. So let me talk about this. The poet Wilfred Owen, you may know him. He's very famous for a lot of poems, but particularly for one poem, Dulce et decorum est per patria remore. It is only sweet and right to die for one's country, and the poem is about how it's actually terrible to die for one's country. It's not a great idea. So that's sarcasm. But here's my fact. Wilfred Owen did not, in fact, write his most famous poem. He what happened is he rescued the poem from a friend of his who just died, from the uniform of a friend of his who just died. The guy's name was Robert Bradley.
Goodness.
And he wrote a letter to Robert Bradley's widow, and sort of saying how sad he was and what a good guy Robert Bradley was, and he attached the poem to it, and he sent it back to the widow, thinking be a thing. And then Wilfred Owen himself later died, and Robert Bradley's widow thought that he had written this poem for her husband, and published it on his behalf. And for 70 odd years, that was the story, because obviously both men were dead. The only person who knew that this poem existed technically was this wife. And then it kind of came out in regimental records that Robert Bradley had in fact written it, and it's now credited to Robert Bradley. But still, most people believe it was written by Wilfred Owen.
Wow. Yeah, I would have to say that I didn't hear the news break about Robert Bradley when we studied it, actually in history class, not even in English, as a war thing with Mr. Canova in Potch Boys, great history teacher. Yeah.
So it came out in '99. So if you were at school then, you would probably have heard the news. But
no, I wasn't. But I'll say no. I think you're lying. I think it's still Wilfred Owen poem, and the reason I would say that as an educated guess is because he did more than one poem.
Yeah. No, he was a poet. He did a lot of poems, and that's what I'm saying.
Wilfred?
Wilfred. Yeah, and it's one of the reasons why. So he was friends with a couple of guys who were poets in the trenches. That's what I'm. This is one of the things, and
So is it were you telling the truth?
Well, I don't know if you decided to.
I've said it's not true. It's a lie.
All right, it's absolutely all a lie. I made it all up.
Oh, wow.
Every last little bit of it.
That's brilliant. That's a fantastic lie.
Thank you. I thought it would be the color that would eventually get you, but clearly not. Clearly, I should stay away from the lying.
Oh, that was a good lie, man.
Yeah, no, absolutely. It's Wilfred Owen.
Yeah, because he died in the trenches.
He did, and I mean, it's an amazing poem. It tells the story of him kind of watching a man die from mustard gas poisoning, and just kind of ends on a rather pithy A-B rhyming scheme.
Yes. And there's in the beginning, it's either that poem or another poem where he does the metaphor of the soldiers being like, is it lambs to the slaughter or just cattle?
I think that's a different one. This is the one where he describes the guy's face basically melting in the mustard gas. It's very colorful, but it is a good.
It is good.
Like if you want to convince somebody that it is not right and sweet and right to die for your country, then that is the way to do it.
Yeah.